Good afternoon, viewers. During this time, the Civil War has been the main topic of discussion of the country. As a result, I brought two generals from the North to talk about the advantages and disadvantages they have over the South. Hello, General.
Hello.
Good afternoon, General. All right, now I'm going to ask you some questions.
Okay, we'll try to answer them to the best of our abilities.
Let's start our discussion with what you feel are the advantages the North have over the South. As you know, the North has a better infrastructure and has industrialized more than the South. How do you think these will impact the outcome of the war?
I believe that these accomplishments will greatly increase our chances of victory. New advancements in technology have allowed us to become increasingly more efficient. For example, the use of telegraphs instead of the Pony Express or hiking has allowed our messages to be relayed at a faster speed. This helps us to organize our troops more efficiently so we can be prepared for surprise enemy attack or quickly move our troops to a changed target location. With the use of telegraphs, our President, Abraham Lincoln, is able to monitor battlefield reports, lead strategic meetings, and deliver orders to the men at the battlefield. Under Andrew Carnegie, the Union Army has established the U.S. Military Telegraph Corps.
On top of the advancements in being able to send messages at a faster rate by telegraph, the vast network of railways the North has allows us to send our supplies to our soldiers faster. With the use of our trains, our soldiers will be able to receive the supplies they need for the wars in time, such as food, clothing, and weaponry. Also, we can use our trains to transport our soldiers as close as we can to the battlefield at a faster speed.
But how does this compare to the South? How do these benefits of being more industrialized and having better infrastructure leave the South at a disadvantage over you?
Well, since the South has not been as up to speed with industrialization as the North, they are unable to use the telegraph at such a large scale as the North has done. Prior to the war, the Union has always had more telegraph lines than the South, and they could easily repair any damaged lines. This is also true during the time of war, unlike the South. The Confederates did not have enough equipment to focus on repairing these lines, nor did they have enough factories to work on repairing them, since they were too preoccupied with other military necessities.
In addition to this, the South faces the same problems with their railroads. While the North has a railroad system about twice as large as the South, the North maintains and repairs their railways, unlike the South. Since the South did not make repairing the railroads as their first priority, they converted many of their locomotive factories into armament factories. Furthermore, many railroad employees left the South to help out in the North. Therefore, the South is unable to deliver supplies or move their troops to target locations as efficiently as the Union is able to.
Okay, so far you have explained to me the advantages we have over the South in terms of faster communication and transportation, which are all great advantages, but does our better infrastructure and industrialization also help the North in terms of weaponry?
Yes, they do. For example, two men, Christopher Spencer and Luke Wheelock, have jointly designed a new powerful weapon called the Spencer repeater rifle for us. Before the repeater rifle, we had rifles with Minié bullets that were easy to reload but wasted valuable time since it had to be reloaded after every shot. With the Spencer repeater rifle, we can fire more than one shot before reloading it, so on average we can fire at least about 7 shots per 30 seconds. The South has neither equipment nor the knowledge on how to create these weapons.
There has also been the invention of the Gatling gun that can fire about 350 rounds per minute, but we haven't ordered much of those because they are very expensive. However, we've used it in some campaigns like the Petersburg campaign.
What about the South's use of hot air balloons to figure out the location of our Union troops? Does our military have any technology to counter this?
Well, we have not created any other type of flying vehicle to counter them, though we have our own hot air balloons that can help bring them down. Also, if they fly close enough, we can fire them down with long-range weapons. We've created an official balloon corps that have launched balloons to help us in the First Battle of Bull Run and battles we've fought in Fredericksburg and Chancellorsville.
How about our naval forces?
While both our ships and the Confederate ships are now ironclad, to improve our armor and help prevent them from going down, the Confederates faced similar problems they faced in terms of their railroads and telegraphs, their lack of a strong industrial power. They do not have enough equipment or enough factories to ironclad as many of their ships as the North has done, nor do they have an equivalent number of ships as the Union. In the first fight of ironclad ships in the war, on March 8, 1862, our Union ship, the Monitor, destroyed the Confederate Merrimack and a whole school of Confederate steamers.
The fact that the Union has more ironclad ships in the South is true, but I have learned that the South has found ways to counter this. With help from Matthew Morey, the Confederates have learned to use underwater mines to undermine Union naval forces. On top of this, their use of torpedoes and submarines have brought down the Union ships like the USS Housatonic against the Confederate H.L. Hunley. How will the Union address this?
Well, as my partner has said, our great industrial power has allowed us to create many ironclad ships. This can easily replace ships like the USS Housatonic that went down. Also, we have our own underwater mines, submarines, and torpedoes like the Confederates do. And although they've sunk dozens of our ships, we can still easily replace them while the South cannot replace the ones they have lost.
What about the financial cost for the war?
The Union has been doing a great job in managing the financial costs for the war. Many of our industries are booming with business. For the war, our soldiers need weapons, clothes, food, people to monitor and fix telegraph lines, people to keep the railroads running and creating more, etc. Also, the government has ordered an income tax, which most of the population have gladly agreed to do, to help us all gain a victory in the Civil War.
On the other hand, the South has not been doing very well. With cotton as their cash crop, the South had been doing well financially at the start of the war, but soon Union ironclad ships have blocked some of their ports, preventing them from trading. Also, most of their attention has been turned to working on producing supplies for their soldiers in the factories and growing food to feed them.
What about the number of people in the Union and Confederate sides? Who has more?
The North easily had a greater population than the South, giving us more soldiers. All of the immigrants that had arrived in the North in search of jobs in our factories have greatly increased our population. In the South, the extensive use of slaves to get their job done have discouraged people to move there due to a lack of job openings. Furthermore, though the South has less people than the North, their distrust of their slaves and unwillingness to use them in the war has cut down the amount of soldiers they could have even more.
In fact, many of their slaves have left their lives of forced servitude to join the Northern armies in promises of freedom. Also, many slaves who have been unable to escape have revolted in the South to cause Confederates even more problems. Having a bigger population in the Union was not only good in terms of having more soldiers, but also there were more people to work in factories, sew clothes, take care of the injured, and grow food.
Okay, so now that we've covered the advantages the North have over the South, what do you think are some of our disadvantages the Union has that has already not been mentioned?
An advantage the South has over the Union is their knowledge of the land. Since the war is being fought in their home territory, they know the landscape better than we do, so it is easier for them to find places to ambush their soldiers.
Also, since the war is fought in their home, this gives the South a bigger incentive to win the war versus the Union's purpose of unifying the country once again, but this time without slavery. The Southern people are fighting for their lifestyles and cannot even consider losing the war, while our president is only promoting our involvement in the war to unite our country. If the South is able to weaken the morale of our troops and the politicians in Washington, then we can quit the war and suffer humiliation, but still be able to continue our own lifestyles, unlike the South.
The greatest disadvantage I believe the South has over us is that they have better generals and have more experienced soldiers. Most generals lived in the South before the war, and when the war started, many more moved to the South. Most of our generals lacked experience in war tactics like McClellan. He was fired by Lincoln because while he was good at administrating, he was too cautious when it came to the actual war.
Yes, but that is not to say that our generals are completely inferior to the Southern generals. For example, Ulysses S. Grant captured both Fort Henry and Fort Donelson in just 11 days.
However, he did not face against Robert E. Lee, or his rising star lieutenant nicknamed Stonewall Jackson, who won the Battle of Bull Run.
That is true. Those two military leaders pose as one of the biggest threats to our army.
Alright, gentlemen, I believe that this is all the time we have left for the day. For more updates on the war, meet us here at Channel 8 tomorrow at the same time. I'm Kelsey Kwan, and this is B11 News.